So what's up?
As you know, historically, I have carried a 6-sided die with me for all of my rolling, and the vast majority of my collection is 6-sided dice. We disagree on this. You like to collect polyhedrals and make and manufacture and design many ridiculous number of side dice. But lately, instead of a 6-sider, I have been carrying a 12 and an 8.
Okay.
Because I can do just about anything I need with those.
2, 4, 6.
I can do 3. The 12 can do 3 or 4 or 12 or 6. The 8 can do, well, pretty much 8 or 4.
Or 2.
Well, I guess the 12 can do 4 too. They both can do 2 or 4. Yeah. But I don't need a 6 if I have an 8 and a 12.
There you go.
So I've been carrying those lately to do any number. Because traditionally also I have held myself to 6 choices because 6 is what I'm using for these choices. But now that I've been experimenting with carrying the 8 and the 12, I have more freedom to I'm going to do a choice of 4. I'm going to do a choice of 8 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot more flexibility
so
there.
It's a little bit more varied. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, because there are times that it's nice to have a constraint, and I'm going to use a 6, I'm going to always have 6 choices. But it's also nice to be flexible, so you should go back and forth on those.
No. I usually have on me just a full set of polyhedrals like this. The little minis.
The minis. Full set, huh?
Well, my definition of full set.
Right. A D&D full set, maybe.
A standard RPG set.
There you go. But Damon has 2 different designs of 12-sided dice. He has dice that have musical notes instead of numbers on them. He has I Ching lines. He has strange glyphs, and even the drunken die that I can have trouble looking at. That it's like a 6-sider with pips, but all the pips are kind of randomly distributed on the side. This looks crazy. Anyhow, welcome to Your Aleatoric Reality. I had a tagline in mind, and now I forgot what it was. It was a really good one, too. I need to start writing these things down.
That's probably a good idea.
Damn it. I can't think of it. I need a tagline.
Yep, you need a tagline.
I'm mad at myself now. I'm mad.
Grr.
I've got to say something. You could do the welcome this time.
Now I have to think of something. Welcome to Your Aleatoric Reality, the podcast where randomness is king.
Enter theme song.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's not great, but
I wonder if that other one will ever come back to me, because I wanted to get a tattoo of it. I was like, this is exactly what we should say that this show is about.
And it was that memorable.
And now I have no recollection of what it was. Anyhow, despite that, please give us your feedback. If you have good things to say, go on your podcast platform and give us a 5-star review and say nice things. If you have constructive criticism or insults, email them to us at youraleatoricreality@gmail.com, and we will probably read it on the air. And if you insult us, we'll probably laugh too. If you insult us in a funny way, we're gonna get the joke.
It might cut deep though.
Cut teeth.
Cut deep. Sometimes insults.
It might. Deep. Yeah. I mean, you can just insult me. That's fine. I mean, people need to grow a thick skin if they're gonna be that sensitive. So help me out, people.
Right.
I do have a listener email.
Oh yeah.
That I could talk about if I can find it.
Welcome to Your Aleatoric Reality, where organization rules.
That's not it. Oh, here we go. All right. I have a listener email from Jim L. I don't know if he wants me to give his full name or not, so I'll just say Jim L. He asks how pious my devotion to Fortuna as a deity is. Because I have done an actual invocation on a couple of occasions, and he says, basically in relation to chaos magic, he's curious about the effects of dogmatism in relation to randomness. This is a pretty astute critique of me. It's not an insult, but it is a critique. And how that dogmatism might inhibit specific magical workings. I think I can address that by saying that I wouldn't say that I believe in Fortuna the way a Christian believes in Jesus. Like I don't think
Sure.
of Fortuna as a cosmic being with a point of view and a consciousness that does things, to us. I think of Fortuna as a principle, the principle of chance. And when I do, like, for instance, when I do an invocation, that's kind of tongue in cheek. I'm just kind of like acknowledging that fortunes rise and fall, and there's going to be good and bad mixed together in the world. There's going to be joy and despair in life.
Declaring your intent, though.
Well, that's the magical part of it, is
Yes.
declaring an intent. But I think where I'm at with like looking at Fortuna as a devotional subject is kind of more about the acknowledgement that I don't expect my magic to mean that things are going to be happy and awesome all the time, because even like that's not sustainable with the dopamine system. Your dopamine system will always seek equilibrium, and if you get a lot of like high happiness, you're going to even out, and you're going to have some downtimes.
But you're not asking for anything either. You're just celebrating.
I'm celebrating the change,
The approach, the intent.
the intent to engage with the randomness that life deals us.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on. So that's what I say.
How does dogma
Jim
come
L.
into play in that?
Well, because I've given invocations to Fortuna and talked about how, like my career change has been kind of a, like I've taken it. This is me just kind of like embracing the randomness of it, because if you missed the episode where I talked about my career change, I had been doing computer software engineering, and I am going to be now a flight attendant. But here's how it relates to Fortuna, because I applied for a lot of different jobs. I was like, because I was trying to get a coding job, market was cool, didn't get a call back. I did one interview. I got to like one of two people, and then they hired the other person. So whatever. Fortuna decided that I wasn't going to get that. So I decided to open it up. I applied to be an insurance salesman. I applied to be a realtor. I applied to be a solar panel salesman. I applied to be a mentor to youth learning coding. I applied all kinds of different jobs, like really literally like a lot of different like nonsensical jobs. And the only one, to this day, the only one that I've gotten a hit on was flight attendant. I showed up. I heard about this event 2 hours ahead of time. Showed up at the airport. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll try it out. And I got hired like right away.
That's awesome.
So that to me is Fortuna telling me that this will be what I do. And I'm going to get to travel a lot, so I'm into it.
Yeah. Hopefully I can come with.
But no, I don't believe in Fortuna as a literal being.
Well, I don't think that's not true. I was going to say a lot of people, when they, at this point in time at least, when they speak of gods or deities or invocations or whatever, it's really exactly the same kind of thing as you're talking about, where it's more of a thematic gesture than it's an actual.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that do really believe in gods and spirits and take it seriously. Even in the magical community, there are a lot of people who take it really seriously and believe that they are independently existing beings outside of us. And I don't begrudge anyone their beliefs.
No, I don't either. I always interpreted it as a bit of theater.
I agree. I concur with that analysis. But I also want to remind people to read Why Materialism is Baloney by Bernardo Kastrup, which I mentioned in an early episode of the show, because that was the book that pointed out to me, whatever else you might think about philosophical idealism, one thing that book really pointed out to me was that having a materialist or agnostic view of the world is a metaphysical position in and of itself. Like if you think like, oh, I don't believe in metaphysics, I don't believe in gods and spirits and that sort of thing. I just believe in science, and the world is made of molecules and everything is deterministic. That is still a metaphysical position. I don't want to belabor the point, but go read that book if you don't believe me.
Well, the other thing too that we haven't really, that I think you're alluding to, but I don't think we've ever been explicit about, is that we talk about rolling dice and stuff like that all the time to make decisions, and that's Fortuna worshiping or whatever. But one of the other parts of this, at least in my interpretation, is in anytime I knee jerk a reaction, I try to pause and consider because usually we knee-jerk things that we don't understand or that are random. So like I had mentioned to Misha before the podcast, I can go into the details on this, but I was presented with a business proposition that my knee-jerk reaction was no. But in the spirit, and literally in the spirit of this podcast and what we've been doing, and Fortuna-ing, or whatever you want to call it.
Embracing randomness.
Yeah, embracing randomness. I considered that, and I actually considered and manipulated that into something I think will be fortuitous. And I think that's also a bit of embracing the random, because it's easy to say no to things that are unfamiliar.
Yeah, and especially what it is, which we can't talk about, but what it is also does involve quite a bit of chance.
Yes,
to be successful. So I'm excited to hear how that turns out, and hopefully we can talk about it on the show eventually.
Yep.
And the whole thing about the believing in atoms and determinism ties right into the news story that I was going to talk about. I have a news item, iflscience.com, which stands for I fucking love science.
Very familiar.
Published an article this week called "No, Dice Rolls Aren't Technically Random, Here's Why." And I'm not going to go too into it, but it's basically an argument that we have talked about before, that it's not random, it's unpredictable. Like if you had a perfect mathematical model of the shape and consistency of your hand, the position of the die, the force with which you're throwing it, the friction of the surface it's rolling onto, if you had everything modeled to a T, the equations would predict the roll. Right.
It is technically repeatable, but there are so many variables that it has a semblance of randomness.
Right. And to me, I think some people see this article and they would get like flustered, like, oh no, dice aren't random. We can't do random things with dice anymore. Well, I don't read it that way at all, because this is like, I've known this for a long time, that it's physics, right? How the die rolls, how fast it's moving, how much friction. Those are the forces that determine what side comes up, not a goddess named Fortuna who just arbitrarily decides what die face is showing. Right?
Exactly.
However, but it gives us an experience of randomness because it is completely unpredictable.
Right.
There is no way of knowing ahead of time what number will show. And then extrapolating from that, when you're tying it to a set of completely different activities that I could do based on what happens, you are engaging with the concept of randomness, if not the physics reality of randomness, which I think are two different things.
Well, and I don't know how familiar you are with, there's an ongoing debate, a technological debate, if you would say that, on how to actually generate random numbers. And people have come up with certain technologies. I just looked it up because I did some research on this, but I wanted to touch on this because I didn't know about this. There are actually like computer cards that you can put in that contain randomizing, and it's usually done with they're called quantum random number generator.
Oh yeah.
And what they use is a laser and a mirror, and it splits the laser, and however many photons land on one side versus the other is how the random number is generated.
That sounds to me like it would still be deterministic. It's just at a smaller scale.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a physicist, and maybe there's aspects to it that we're not talking about here. But to me, that just sounds like you've come up with a different, maybe even more unpredictable method. But it still sounds like you're doing something that's subject to the laws of physics.
Exactly.
Right? But if you throw the word quantum in, then it sounds mysterious to everyone.
Yep. Yeah. So there's here's a 4 megabit per second quantum beam splitter card for a computer that sells for 13,000 euros.
Huh.
Or sorry, 1,300 euros. But still,
well, if we put quantum in the name of our podcast, can we sell it for $13,000?
Your quantum aleatoric reality.
Yeah.
No, but this is for use. This is not really for game use as much as it is for encryption.
Right.
And generating random. There is no such thing as randomness. There's literally no such thing as randomness. If you
that
dig
we
deep
know
enough,
of so far.
Right. Yeah. If you dig deep enough, it's exactly like you described the hand model. Like it's just, there are so many variables here that it is a farther away from consistent.
Right. Well, when you get into chaos mathematics, it doesn't mean that chaos just means everything's happening with no cause. It just means that there can be wide divergence from very similar initial conditions.
But the deeper you dive into like chaos, quantum theory, and stuff like that, the more patterns actually emerge in what seems like chaos. And it is actually extremely structured. It's just not a structure that you understood. thereby it seemed chaotic and random.
Right. Well, not being mathematicians, that's about as far as we can go down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
But I'm going to roll for. Oh, unless you will. Why don't you roll?
Okay.
I'm tired of rolling. Rolling for a segment, a topic, a show topic.
Fuck.
I didn't mean roll your drink.
Yeah.
Should we pause the recording?
Never spill shit.
That is true anymore.
Right. Captured, archived.
This is Fortuna punishing us for saying she didn't exist.
Right. Fuck. Of course, it had to be like sugar.
Or it might be Fortuna rewarding us for talking about her, because Fortuna's rewards and punishments are unpredictable.
Right.
Or she wouldn't be Fortuna.
Reward wetness.
All right.
Anyway, what were we doing? How many?
Roll a 5-sider. I have 5 possible segments, and what'd you get?
3.
3. We're going to play a game.
Okay.
The ideas that I have are the yacht game, which you've played. Everyone hearing this has played. You've played it under a trade name, which we're not going to say because it's trademarked. But the yacht game is a public domain version of a commercially marketed game. And there's Greed, which I don't think is trademarked.
Okay.
Or we could play Ascendo or Descendo, which is the working title of one of the events from the Dice Olympics that we're going to do next year. You could make some suggestions too, and then we could roll for which one to play.
I don't have anything prepared.
You have a deck of cards.
Uh-huh.
You just come up with a couple of card games that are short that we could play live.
What, late card? War?
High card, war. We could do a hand of gin rummy.
Yeah, these are not auditory things.
We're going to make them auditory. We're going to
right.
talk about what we're doing. So
We could play solitaire.
we could play solitaire. I thought it would be a game that we play together. We could individually play solitaire. I'll put it on the list. Why
No,
not?
don't. No, that's stupid.
Don't call me stupid.
I didn't call you stupid. I called your idea stupid.
It was your idea.
I know. That's why it was so stupid. It was a joke.
So you don't want solitaire on the list?
No, that would be terrible.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll a 6-sider. On episode 1, no, was it episode 3 maybe? I'll have to fact check myself. On an earlier episode, you asked if we were going to play D&D on the air. Mm-hmm. And we will probably play a role-playing game at some point, possibly not D&D, but we can play many kinds of games because that's the thing that people do. We talked about it. People listen to podcasts where people are playing D&D. Why can't they listen to a podcast where people are playing gin rummy?
Quality? Entertainment?
We've never had that.
I think there might be a reason.
Because we've never played a game on the air before.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm with you.
All right, roll it. It's the
4.
drunken die. It's a 4.
I used the drunken die just to annoy you.
High card.
High card.
Are we going to put some money down on this? You want the red deck or the blue deck? Okay. Were you doing odds and evens?
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty quick. These are new decks, so they're not shuffled.
Well, you're going to have to shuffle it.
We get
Otherwise,
to-
it would be a test of skill and not random.
Sure.
So Damon has 2 brand new decks of cards, apparently. He's shuffling one of them.
Don't you need to shuffle yours?
Should I shuffle? Oh, we're doing a double deck high card? This is double deck high card.
I don't know. I'm just making it up as I go along.
Sure, that's what we do.
I mean, high card just means that the card is high. It doesn't necessarily represent the.
But with 2 decks, we could both get exactly the same card, in which case there would be no high card.
Right.
Does that mean
what
we
do you
both
do?
win or we both lose? Or we play, then we use knives?
So what, we just play war?
I guess, sure. That could be our backup, our round 2, round of war.
Well, how do we know when we're done?
High card wins. This is short and sweet.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we're both shuffling our individual decks of cards.
Is ace high or low?
I always think ace is high.
Okay.
Except in blackjack, it can be either, but
Right.
I think of ace as being high. I also think we should have suit values. In case we both get the same value card, then the suit will be the determinant. And we can do it in chased order. Chased is an acronym that tells you clubs,
If we
hearts, spades, diamonds.
have a tie, we roll it.
If we have a tie, we roll it?
Yeah, we just
With dice?
Yeah, we roll it.
That's not using cards.
No, it's using dice.
I think the suits should count.
Okay, so what is it?
Clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds in descending order.
Okay.
So clubs are the highest suit.
Okay. How many times
And
have
let
we
me know when MIT did a study that established the mathematical idea that 7 shuffles is what thoroughly randomizes a deck of cards.
Yep, I've already passed that.
So when playing a card game, I usually shuffle 7 times. So we're going to cut to a card. Why did you do that, brother?
Because I don't trust you.
Damon cut both decks. Instead of us cutting each other's or cutting our own, Damon reached out and cut both decks because he doesn't trust me
'Cause I'm an asshole.
because I have a history of being a magician.
Yes.
Although I'm not the kind of magician that can cheat at cards
That I know of.
that you know of. And I would, if I were that kind of magician, I would still tell you I wasn't that kind of magician.
Exactly.
So we're each going to just cut and show the card on the bottom.
I have just the top card.
Oh, having cut, it's the top card.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Does that
making
work
this up
for
as
you?
we go along. Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to each show our top card. I've got
7
an 8.
of hearts.
Damon has a 7.
Okay.
I win.
What do you win?
I am the winner. We didn't put any money down.
Oh, right.
So what do I win? I win the right to clean up your spilled drink.
Yes, you do. Please.
Should we play again? That was fun. Should we do it again?
Sure.
Oh, you don't want to shuffle and recut? You're just going to
We
take the
can.
next card?
We can. All right, we can
All right,
make
we're gonna
it
shuffle.
go the long way.
Shuffle it up. To me, traditionally, high card is where you cut.
We can try it that way.
You cut, and then you show the bottom of the section that you cut off. That's how we did it when we were kids.
I never.
And I'm pretty sure my dad taught me and my brother how to play all kinds of different betting games with cards.
Yeah, I didn't grow up
when
on
we
a
were kids.
riverboat, so.
Well, I grew up on a potato farm.
Right. Same
And
thing.
we could, we were marching through the fields with irrigation pipes. And then if we got a good rain, there was a couple days off, and then we were playing poker.
Ooh.
And my dad always used to like to say, like, if we did anything irregular, like if you cut when you're the dealer, or if you, were shuffling and a card, you dropped a card or something, my dad would say, oh, you can't do that. If you're ever playing a real game, you can't do that because you could get knifed.
I have a knife.
Please don't knife me. All right, cards are shuffled. I'm going to do round 2. Damon was once again cutting for me. Oh, I'll cut for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Great, there you go. And now we're going to cut to a card and show it. I've got an ace.
See, I don't trust this cutting method.
And he's got a 2.
Yeah, this is not
I am not using any magic skills on that. Honestly,
right. You just happen to draw or cut to the ace of spades. That was a bit bold.
it was a bit bold. I didn't do it on purpose. I mean, if I were, that should be a dead giveaway that I didn't use magic, because if I was going to use magic skills, I would never in a million years cut to the ace of spades, because it's too obvious.
Right.
So the fact that I cut to it demonstrates that it's random, because I never would have done that on purpose.
Unless
I want to double bluff you.
Yep.
I'm not smart enough to double bluff you.
Oh, come on. I've seen your magic act.
Well, all right, I'll take credit for it. I didn't do it, but I'll take credit if you want to give it to me. All right. Well, so now, even if we did 2 out of 3, I've already won.
Yep.
All right.
Best 5 out of 6 or whatever. What is it? I don't know if that's stupid.
Were you trying to do a Russian accent?
No, I was trying to do death.
Oh, right, when he's back to the movie references, Bill and Ted.
Best 4 out of 7.
Right. Okay, well, that's an example of how we would play a game on the air if we ever did such a thing, which we probably should never, ever do.
Oh, is that it? We're done?
Do you want to do more?
I don't know. What else are we going to do?
We have to give a listener challenge. We should do a random quotation.
We've only been recording for like 20 minutes.
Was there a quota?
I don't know. I guess not.
Do you want, if you want to roll again and play another game, we can play another game.
Yeah, let's roll and play another game.
All right, one more game. For the listeners, these are bicycle decks.
Mm-hmm.
A red one, and is that a black one, or is
Blue.
that? It doesn't look like the same shade of blue that I'm used to.
No, I know it doesn't, does it?
It's a darker blue than I would consider standard, but it is a standard bicycle.
No, it's
Oh, the box is
the
just
box
printed
is
dark for
weird.
some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, the backs of the actual cards look the right shade.
I think they know they need
right.
to be the right shade.
I'm going to roll
Hold on, I gotta
a
take all
6
shit
this
out of here.
time for the game. And it is a 5. It is War, which is essentially the same thing, only iterated.
Yeah, but that's only one deck.
Oh, right, I have to deal them out, don't I?
Yep.
In the game of War, the deck
Good God, Joe.
is dealt to both players in its entirety. Each person will then have 26 cards, and I'm just going to count off 26 instead of dealing them back and forth.
If you want.
Because that's dealing them back and forth that many times is a pain.
Okay.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I just realized I was doing this for a listening audience. And because you don't trust me, I will allow you to choose which half of the deck you want to take. Okay. And we just flip from the top, and the high card takes it. Damon got an ace right out of the gate. He took the one I was intending for myself. Flip. He's got a 9, I got an 8. Goes to Damon again. Here we go. Damon's on a roll. Oh, I got a king to his 3 this time.
Got my 3.
My first, the 3 is not. Oh, we didn't take the jokers out. I didn't take the jokers out.
What does that mean?
That means we have to switch to knives. I think that's just like, that's out. That's
Okay.
moot. I shouldn't have the jokers in there. 8 versus 7, Damon wins.
Oh.
10 to 10, we have a war. We put 3 face down cards. And then for all the marbles, except their cards,
Queen.
I got a 2. It's to Damon.
What did I take?
You got
almost-
some middle cards.
I got
1
a king.
king. Not bad, not bad. I think we should just do one time through, and then whoever has most cards wins. Rather than, because normally in war you replay the cards you took until one person has all the cards. That takes too long. It's partially the raffle problem. 2 aces.
Oh.
3 face down cards. And here we flip.
Queen again.
I got a 4. Damon is killing it. And he took nothing major. I got a 10 in there, 4 and a 3, some middle cards. That wasn't a great haul. But I mean, it's quantity. Mm-hmm. Since we're not doing more than one run through, the value of the cards you take doesn't matter.
Correct.
Ace to 3, I win. King to 10, I win. Double 6. 3 face down cards. Even if I take all the cards from now on, I'm not going to win because you already have a huge pile over there. I have a 7. Damon has a jack. He gets the whole war. Good God, y'all. Right. And we can play out the rest. There's only, we got 3 cards left. I'm sure Damon's going to win, but let's play it out to the end.
Yeah, the only way that you could win.
I got a 9. Damon has a queen. That's to him. King to 9, me. Jack to 8, me.
Yeah.
And Damon has 1 card less. Is it a joker? It is not a joker. So what happened to the other joker? I have 1 joker in the box.
Oh.
So I thought I was taking the jokers out, but I accidentally left one in there. That was the random element. So I was talking to a friend of mine last night about this show, which he had not heard about yet. And why did I bring this up? I was going to say something relevant. Oh, because I was talking about the video. You recall in episode 1, I wanted to roll for a public domain movie to put as the video to go along with this audio on YouTube.
Right.
And you nixed that idea. You were like, this is an audio podcast. We can't do video. Nevertheless, we do have our podcast on YouTube, and it just has a static frame. We could very easily be putting some kind of video there rather than just a static frame.
Sure.
But when I brought that up to my friend last night, he said it would be really nice to see the video of when we're doing the dice rolls. Because when I made it clear that we do determine things randomly live while we're doing it, he's like, it would be great to have a dice cam. So when we get to the point where we are filming, like, I think sooner rather than later we should be putting some kind of video on YouTube. But when we get to the point where we're actually filming what we're doing, I really want to have a dice cam that's just always pointed down at the table that will show the rolls as we roll.
We could get a box for it.
I thought of it because that would have been handy while we're doing war, because it would have shown the results. But you loved hearing it described to you, didn't you, listener? So we need a listener challenge.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas?
No, I do not.
It could be play a card game. If you haven't played cards, maybe if you're a regular card player, maybe this is not the think outside the box challenge for you that it would be for someone who doesn't regularly play cards. If you're not a card player, make yourself the list of 6 games. Maybe they're games you know, maybe they're games you want to learn. Make a list of, you know what, you didn't even have to do 6. You could do 8 or 12 or 4 and roll the appropriate die and go wild with it. Let us know what happens. Maybe find a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Oh, that was last time.
I just thought of another one. We can do 2. One would be to consider what we were talking about earlier with, the invocation of randomness and considering that, and what does that mean to you, and how can you use that to enhance your life, and maybe, I don't know. No, that's not good. It's not a good challenge.
What's random about that?
Nothing. Never mind. I'll cut it.
I mean, there could be something there. We could develop it. If we had gotten the creativity episode, we could use the Brian Eno deck to develop that idea.
For sure.
Maybe we'll talk about that next time on Your Aleatoric Reality. Do email us at youraleatoricreality@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us about your experiments. Ask to be on the show. We're having guests now, so please get in touch and keep listening. That's all.
Okay.
Live long and prosper.